Great day, and it is a great day, especially on Tuesdays when we can see the smiling face of one Ron, the car guy. Good to see you, man.
Hey, I'm glad you can start my day off.
Well, and first of all, thank you for all your involvement over the weekend and all the fundraisers that were going on. This is a busy guy, Jack.
Yeah. Well, you support local more, just like any other great business, but we really appreciate that. With Animal Rescue League, you're over with our LLS and Pitt-Hopkins syndrome, but definitely a great local business, but giving back to the local community as well.
Well, I enjoy doing that, and I think you guys did a great job too. I mean, you had back-to-back events, Saturday and Sunday, and but it was all fun, and we need to support local. I mean, that's what it's all about.
That's right.
And speaking of local, there's some things around town about as local as you can get if you're driving around. As in big old holes in the ground all over the place.
Yep. Today we're going to talk about potholes. And
right then our general manager said, "What? What?"
You have Jason's attention.
Good morning, Ted. But no, you drive around. I mean, and of course they're everywhere because it's pothole season.
And
I mean, this is the time of year for that.
Explain why that is. Why are these things developing out of nowhere?
Well, there's two things that happen that create potholes. One is in the driving forces in the wintertime, in the fall, and then again in the spring. We've got the snow and the ice. It melts and it goes down into the cracks of the pavement. And then on cold nights, because Jason doesn't do the weather forecast so it's warm enough at night, it freezes. And of course when it freezes, then it expands. It's just like a bottle of pop that would freeze. It'll split.
Because water expands.
Exactly. So now we're breaking up the pavement. And then another contributing factor is how many times they plow snow in the wintertime.
Right.
Because those blades are pushed down on that pavement, and they're grabbing that loose pavement and they're digging it up out of the street as well. So, fortunately, we don't have as many this year as we have in the past, because for the most part, even though it didn't seem like it at times, it wasn't that bad of a winter. They didn't plow snow that many times, but there's still a ton of them out there when you go out and drive around. And of course, potholes wreak havoc on your vehicle. A couple of stats that I've got here is. Des Moines, the city of Des Moines Public Works, has received reports of more than 1,000 potholes this spring.
1,000?
1,000, and we're just scratching the surface.
Look at that.
That tire doesn't look like it's very straight.
No, and that's not an alignment issue. That's actually a vehicle that we towed in, and he went through and he hit a pothole, and it broke the suspension underneath the vehicle.
Did that kind of damage?
It did. Right there, you can see. I drew a small red arrow to test your eyes this morning, but you can see there's an aluminum or a cast part of the suspension there that actually snapped.
Wow.
When he went through there, and we had a Ford Taurus that was towed in over the weekend. He hit a pothole and the wheel broke on it.
Now, is that having to do with hitting it at a certain level of speed, or?
Yep, and the depth of it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, certainly speed. And by speed I don't mean 70 miles an hour. I mean, 20 or 30 miles an hour. If you hit one that's deep enough and everything just hits just
now,
right.
Did you hit the one on 7th Street over where the road is closed off?
No.
Where the street's closed off. If you go to the surface, we have a picture of it on the surface. This gigantic one. Let's move it over. Look at that one.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
I'm pretty aware of the ones on 7th because
Yeah.
I'm there all the time. But I'll tell you what, the ones I can never seem to miss is just in our parking lot. There's huge ones.
And the city's not going to come fix those.
Well, I was going to ask about that. Who fixes when they're in parking lots? Because they're massive.
Who do you pay rent to, Jackie?
They're massive. Well, it's like, who do you call and be like, hey, it's kind of sucks when you're driving and parking in the morning and there's no way around it. You have to go this way and you're going to go boom, 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 boom to go there.
Well, tell that guy who's in the car, who's in the pothole, to call for some help. And then maybe
as you drive over the roof of his vehicle.
Right.
It's just like, wow.
But the city of Des Moines, any town or municipality, you could report the potholes. You just call the Public Works Department. The city of Des Moines has a pothole complaint number.
Okay.
And that number. Can we put it up on the screen? Maybe we can. Anyway, that number is 283-4950.
4950, easy enough to remember.
Exactly, 283-4950. Write it down there, Jason. So if you do see a pothole or know of one like on your way to work, certainly give them a call, because the repair of those, they don't drive around looking for potholes. They fill about 50 potholes a day. and it's complaint driven.
Okay.
So rather than say, hey, there's this pothole on 7th, I have to drive around it every day on the way to work, or I run through it all the time, give them a call. Because right now what they're doing this time of year is they put what they call a cold patch in there because the temperatures aren't warm enough yet. So it's kind of a temporary fix, and then the hope is that when it gets warmer this year, they'll come back and put a more permanent fix in there that'll last through the winter. But at least they get something in there, to help prevent damage to your car.
Right.
So call and let them know, because if you don't report it, it's probably not going to get fixed.
Right.
Your best defense is to obviously know where they're at. When you drive around, there are some apps
I was
you
going to
can
say,
put on
there's
your
a
phone.
pothole app.
There's actually several, and those will, what they do is they actually sense movement in your car. Like if you hit something, it'll sense where you're at and it'll record that as a pothole. So the next time that you're driving down that street,
Well, that's
it
even
will
the
alert
fancier
you.
one that we heard about.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the main focus of those apps when they first came out with them was to notify the city or the state, whoever's responsible to get it fixed. But yeah, they do have some out now that have alerts on it. So you can take advantage of that, or you can just pay attention to where you drive and look at what's going on.
Question: you showed the picture of the vehicle that had been damaged in the pothole and had part of the suspension broken. Who's responsible for that? Who pays for that?
Typically, you or your insurance company would be responsible.
Okay.
In the past, we've heard that people were going to sue the city, or the city was responsible for the damage to their car, and there's a tiny bit of truth to that. That is a possibility, but you have to prove that the city knew that it existed, and in a timely manner did nothing to address it. And that really just isn't the case. I mean, if you tell them that there's a pothole, they might not get out there in the next 10 minutes and fix it, but they will come out and fix it. They're not going to just ignore it. So, like that car that I showed you that we had in the shop, he made a claim with his insurance company and paid his deductible, and we went ahead and got it fixed up for him. So. And then the last thing that we want to make sure is, over the next few weeks, we're going to eventually get through the pothole season. And once we're through that, I strongly recommend that people take their vehicle in and have the alignment on it measured, because when you drive through a pothole, even though it didn't break anything, you might have thought, wow, I just hit this big pothole. It'll shift and adjust your alignment, and you don't always know that going down the road. And so all of a sudden you're scrubbing off the edge of a $150, $250 tire, and before you know it, we roll into August and your tire's down to the cords, or it's wore out because of an alignment issue that could have been prevented. Because
and there's a real easy way to figure out if your car is out of whack too. If you're driving down the road and there's nobody else around you, you got to make sure you're by yourself on the roadways, and you let go of the steering wheel for just a second and see if your car goes one way or if your car goes another way all by itself. If that's the case, you might be out of a line.
And that's called pulling.
Exactly.
Is it pull to the left or pull to the right?
Right.
And yeah, if it does, there's a problem. And it's wearing your tires. If you picture as you walk down a hallway, turn 1 foot sideways and just kind of drag it rather than pick it up and walk. I mean, that's what happens to your tire when it's out of an alignment. It's dragging that tire across the pavement. It's going to wear off the rubber on it.
Exactly.
So things to avoid as we head into the spring season.
That's right. But I'd rather deal with potholes than ice.
All right, now we have the number to report those potholes.
Here we go.
Now it's not really like complaining about it, even though they call it a complaint line. It's a report line.
Correct.
Report where the potholes are, so they know where to fix them.
And it's 24/7. You can call that number at 3 o'clock in the morning if you can't sleep and tell them where potholes are.
Okay, 283-4950. Perfect.
Awesome.
All right, and how to get a hold of you in case we have a question.
You can get a hold of me. You can go to AskRonTheCarGuy.com. I answer all the questions. Or you can go to our website, WestsideAutopros.com. All my contact information's there.
All right, perfect. Sounds great. Good to see you, man.
Thanks, Ron.
You're welcome.
It is 6:52. We'll be right back. And if you always wanted one of those brand new Apple Watches, you're not going to believe what people are doing to them already.